Good evening, everybody. I'm glad that you could join me again for another cooking video. Tonight we're going to be doing a reverse seared steak. Some of you may have heard of this before. I just recently came to the knowledge of this through a website which I will be linking in the description. But here's the thing about a reverse seared steak that I found. You can use I guess what you would call a poorer cut of steak or poorer cut of steak. So tonight we're going to do some chuck eye steak. Now you only need a few things to do a reverse sear steak. Number one, of course, is the steak. As you can see, I've got 4 beautiful steak here. I've already seasoned them with salt and pepper only, nothing else. If you want to use something else, you absolutely can. You need a pan with a raised rack, and you need an instant read thermometer. That comes into play later on. Now, we're going to be putting these in the oven. Now I know that sounds a bit odd, especially for a steak, but that's kind of the whole point of the reverse sear. You're going to get most of your cooking done in the oven. So we've already preheated the oven to 275. Remember that. That's the key temperature. And we're going to put these steaks on this rack, just like so. That doesn't matter if they're, touching a little bit, because they're going to be in the oven for about 30 to 45 minutes. It's really going to depend on the cut of your steak, how thick it is. If there's a bone in it, the steaks we're doing this evening are boneless, so that shortens your time a little bit. But that's where that meat thermometer comes into play. At about 30 minutes in is when you're going to check that temperature. What you have to remember is your degree of doneness is different than anyone else's. There's going to be a chart in that website that I've linked in the description that gives you a basic how-to of getting to your particular doneness level. Now, I'm not going to frown on you if you go well done, but I probably won't eat at your house. Okay, we're going to put these in the oven. Just like that. Now, I'll be back to check on you in about 30 minutes or so. Welcome back. We're going to do our first temperature check right now. It's been about 30 minutes. And the temperature that I'm shooting for is somewhere between 135 and 140, which will give me a medium steak. Let's see what we have. Okay, well, they're looking good. I can already tell just by looking they're not quite where they need to be, but they should be fairly close. Okay, about a few more degrees there. Just a little there. Oh wow, looking good, looking good. Okay, so I'm about 125 across the board, so that needs just a few more minutes to go. When I say a few more, I don't mean 1 or 2. 275 is a bit of a low temperature, so you want to take it easy with that. So we're going to go for about another 15 minutes or so, and we'll check it again. Alright, we're back again. We're going to check out that meat and see what the temperature's at this time. Let's see what we have here. Alright, we are looking good. We are right in the area that we need, about right around 135. We got 140 right there, so that's right where we need to be. Now, I know they look a little odd, but that's how they'll look at this stage. Next comes a very important part of this, is you're going to take some aluminum foil. Generally you want that shiny side down. That helps trap the heat a bit better. And just lightly cover that pan. Now you're going to let this rest for about 10 minutes to let that temperature rise by about 5 more degrees, as then it also begins to cool down. While you're waiting for this, you're going to have a pan ready. probably in the last 5 minutes or so, you'll come in, you'll turn on your pan, and you're going to get it good and hot. Hot enough to where when you put a droplet of water in there, the water will dance around on that. I would suggest using stainless steel or cast iron, as most I say, non-stick pans don't handle the high heat that well. Use what works best for you. For me, it's stainless steel or cast iron. I simply chose this pan because it was easiest to get to, and it's large enough to do 2 steaks at once. So I'll see you back in about 10 minutes. Okay, we've let our steaks rest. Now we're gonna go and put them in a pan. So you take your foil off, grab you up a steak. Now keep in mind I normally have the vent on for this, but since that way it'll be too loud for the video, we're going without. You're gonna put these directly into the pan for about 1 minute on each side. Now there will be a lot of smoke. That's normal. There's nothing else in this pan other than these steaks. There's no oil, anything like that. Like I said, the vent is your friend. Use it. It's just not being used right now. That's the sound of good steak cooking. "30 seconds to go." Now while you're waiting for your steaks to be done, it's always good to think about your sides. Whatever you can come up with is all good. We're doing a little bit of corn and potatoes because that's just what we like. What you like may be something different, but go with that. Here we go, we're about to make the turn. Oh, look at that. That is a beautiful steak. Now we're going to reset our timer and go 1 more minute. Like I said, there will be heavy smoke, so you do have to watch out for that. But this right here, that's the color that you're wanting. You want that good char on there, but not burnt. If my smoke alarm goes off, it's because of the vent. It happens. It'll happen to you. It happens to me. Down to about 25 seconds to go, and we're going to see how these look. Ten more seconds. There we go. Okay, I'm going to get these other 2 steaks done, and then we'll come back for the slicing. Okay, so we got the last 2 steaks done. There was a lot of smoke, like I said, and the smoke alarm did go off. Most of it's cleared by now. We had to wait for that to dissipate a little bit, but let's see how this steak looks. I'm just going to cut straight through the middle, just like that. Now look at that. Now that is pretty. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, you can use a cheaper cut of meat whenever you do this reverse sear. The reason I said that is because I've used this method on many different cuts of steak, and I get the same results no matter what type of steak I use. I'm going to get a juicy, completely done steak of however, what to your liking is. But I've actually done a New York strip, which to me is normally pretty tough. Well, pretty tough to master anyway, but I've done it with this method, and I've come out with a tender and juicy steak. So hopefully your mileage may vary, but hopefully you'll catch it just right. Follow the link in the description for more information that I found which helped me to go through this. Until next time.